Hi, I'm James Pearce, and this is the story of an attempt to fly around the Australian coastline by flexwing Microlight in 2002. I'd been planning this trip for a while and thought it would be a great way to raise money for the Leukemia Research Fund.
Excellent. They're all alright. Superb.
My colleagues on the adventure were John Cresswell, the second pilot, and Keith Vaughan, a long-time friend who acted as our ground support. We got airborne on the start of our 10,000-mile journey early on January the 27th. Strong winds meant we would often be flying at the crack of dawn and back down on terra firma by late morning. After several days flying, we'd only used 2 of our 48 Australian maps. The size of the country was immense, and suddenly we began to appreciate the scale of the task we'd set ourselves.
Daybreak on the 31st of January. The moon shines in the sky, and we are preparing for the next leg of our journey. Preparations are being made by the light of our charcoal grey Suzuki.
In a country so vast, you have to improvise with your landing strips. Once we were out of the major towns, any old road would do. What could be more convenient? Getting off the road for fuel. However, at the end of our first week, we discovered that not everything goes to plan, particularly when it comes to the weather.
So tell me, John, what are the plans?
The plan is it's going to stop raining, it's going to brighten up, and we're going to take off.
Cocklebiddy Roadhouse, somewhere on the Nullarbor Plains. And the lads are just warming up their aircraft for a highway takeoff. The weather is grim. There's a southeast easterly wind blowing straight into their faces. Cloud base is about 800 feet and it's drizzling. All in all, not a good day. Hi there, Saturday 2nd of February. Just to let you know, this is sunny Australia. It's chucking it down with rain. Jim and John have just taken off into the grey murk that surrounds us. And it's not what we expected at all. Hopefully we'll do 170 miles today, but we'll see. I'm not entirely sure. I'm glad I'm driving now. So don't feel too despondent. It does rain in Australia as well. Sunday 3rd of February, 5:50 in the morning. Another attempt at takeoff.
While we headed slowly east in the headwinds, Keith got to enjoy the sights of the coastal roads. A fortnight after setting off, we made it to Adelaide, some 1,500 miles from our starting point.
How are you supposed to hold a camera steady with all these flies about the place? Horrid things. That's our bunkhouse where we've been staying for the last 2 nights. We've got one more night here and then we're off. Make our way to Melbourne tomorrow.
Okay, we're just approaching the coast now and about 5 miles from the cable landing site. Shortly you'll see Jack Smith Lake will kind of pass you on the left. Pretty flat terrain here, open as far as you can see. Not a great deal of, in terms of villages, towns, people, what have you. Not totally sure what you're looking for, so can't say much more really, apart from it seems to be flat paddock land, a few clumps of trees, and quite a few spurious little lakes scattered around.
Although we flew our Microlight solo, we were never far from each other and always in touch by radio.
Okay, Golf Tango climbing over the ridge.
We're on the ground at Malakuta now, 17th of Feb. Cut in the bush, basically. Pan round. Five weeks after leaving Perth, we neared Sydney, where we'd scheduled a week's break. After 65 hours flying and 3,000 miles, we certainly needed it. Hi there, it's Monday 25th of February and we're sitting on Darling Harbour in Sydney looking back at the Central Business District. At Southwest Rocks Strip, we met some Aussie microlighters. These guys were setting off to Tasmania. They were crossing the Tasman Sea, and they thought we were the crazy ones. At our next stop, Caboolture, we met some more microlighters. Some of these pilots accompanied us up the coast to Rainbow Beach, our next destination. When we got there, the rains arrived too. Having lost a day through rain at Rainbow Beach, we continued north towards Cairns, our next major milestone.
Okay, we're currently at a place called Ayr, and we're hoping to make it up to Cairns around about the 18th of March. We've just been talking to air traffic control at Cairns, and they're happy to let us into the airport. It's controlled airspace. They normally don't let microlights in, but they've given us a special dispensation to fly in, so it should be interesting, flying in amongst the Qantas international flights coming in from the UK and all these sort of places. As we approached Cairns International Airport, we reached our halfway point. 5,000 miles of flying in 7 weeks, and another well-earned break. As we de-rigged, we discovered we brought some stowaways with us.
Loath to, I'm not sure what...
David Bellamy's in on the action here. After 2 months of travelling, a luxury treehouse in the rainforest was our next destination. I'm inclined to give that place a miss if we can.
Yeah.
I was saying to John, I don't like the idea of going into Karen with the big mountains here and the potential for weather. So we're going to go up the coast here if we can.
Okay, so assuming we can fill from the Bowser at Lockhart,
We could actually.
that'll give we'll be down 30 litres a piece, 35 litres a piece at Bamaga, which isn't which is a bit of a waste if we can only get a 200 litre drum.
Yeah, but I think maybe if
So
we
the
can,
other option is
if we can get into
Mogas
town
at
and fill our
20
dairies,
litres from
would
Mogas at
be
Bamaga.
fine.
That'll
Down
give
to,
us enough to weep that.
as we flew from Port Douglas to Cooktown, there was nowhere to land in an emergency. It was a tense time for both of us as we headed into a remote and hostile region. Meanwhile, Keith arrived at another town, another motel.
Hiya all! Just in case you thought it was all sun, sea and kangaroos, let me just tell you where I am tonight. A bijou little motel, circa 1958. It's run by Norman Bates. I managed to kill all the cockroaches, well, all the ones I found so far anyway. And the fans just decided to stop, which is a major problem in these parts.
While Keith carried on driving, we flew the rest of Cape York.
and when we finally met again in Normanton, we were shattered. The Hell's Gate Roadhouse was an oasis in a desert, as the nearest sealed road was 3 hours away. Arriving by Microlight seemed the better option. Flying towards Darwin, the landscape became more rugged and lush. We were well and truly in the tropics. At the local flying club, the members had some very interesting machines. Passing Lake Argyll, we prepared to fly over the Bungle Bungle National Park, a World Heritage Site that was awe-inspiring. The surreal landscape was matched by an unusual stopover at John Mitchell's hangar at Fitzroy Crossing.
Hello, John, you going to say hello?
Hello, Keith. Cheers.
Cheers.
We were heading towards Broome, our first major stop on the west coast. By now we'd flown almost 8,000 miles and the prospect of a swim was really appealing. We were met by Charles, an eccentric English traveller.
Way back down the track. Now we're going to have to take all this off. Things like he'd re-riveted, apparently not allowed to re-rivet an aircraft planes. You know, it's just not acceptable.
That evening was our first sunset on the western coast for nearly 3 months, a clear sign that we were on the final stretch home. Although we still had 1,000 miles to go, we tried to make the most of our time.
Hello, Mr. P. Here we are, aboard the Subsea Explorer.
a sting in the tail. Our final cardinal point saw the heavens open up with torrential rain. Not what we'd hoped for at all. But the gods smiled on us for our final day, and the sun appeared once more.
John, good on you, mate. Cheers. You mate.
Oh, we flew right over the CBD.
And then we have the very last line on the map. Join the dots.
Let's highlight it.
Actually, it's all a joke. We just spent 3 months in Augusta mending the undercarriage. That's where we've been, camera.